But for now, there is some breaking news from ESPN's Ed Warder that the recent contract offer from the Dallas Cowboys to Ezekiel Elliott would make him one of the 2 highest paid running backs in the NFL. That suggests the contract comes in somewhere between Le'Veon Bell at $13.5 million a year and Todd Gurley at $14.5 million a year. Of course, the devil's always in the details, but what's a win and a loss? ESPN's NFL front office insider Louis Riddick tells us to watch some other numbers.
I would assume that the Cowboys are going to be very interested in protecting themselves against Ezekiel making bad decisions and about him doing something that would make them look foolish. So now you're talking about, from his perspective, I'm sure Ezekiel's perspective is how much of this money is guaranteed when I put pen to paper? Mm-hmm. How much of it is conditional, meaning conditional in terms of my behavior, conditional in terms of my injury history, or rather injury itself, because that can change the whole landscape here. I mean, we can sit here and we can talk about the average per year all we want, 13-1, 13-2. But what players are concerned, and I'm not saying that wasn't what I mean.
Ezekiel's calling on your phone.
But I think what all of us is, if we were negotiating a contract and we were the ones sitting here trying to get paid, which is how much of my money am I getting as soon as I sign
right
this
now,
thing? And how much of it is contingent upon if I stay healthy or if I don't make some foolish decision out there. I want to know how much of this money is mine right now.
How much of this money is guaranteed? That's Louis Riddick on NFL Live. Well, let's talk about this. What's a win for Ezekiel Elliott? What makes it all worthwhile? What's a W? What's an L? What makes the contract holdout worth its fight? Let's think about a couple different ways. First of all, is Ezekiel Elliott going to get to be the top paid running back in the NFL on annual average value or in guaranteed money? I think it's doubtful. And I told you yesterday that I believe this either sensitivity or negotiating ploy of being disrespected by Jerry's joke actually ends up taking money off the table. Does he end up higher paid than Todd Gurley? No. So that's an L. Does he get more short-term money? Does he get more money next year and the year after when he was under contract than he would have had under that contract? The next 2 years of Ezekiel Elliott's salary would have paid him something like $8 to $9 million a year. Is he going to get more than that to play over that same time period? Yes. Jerry's not saying I'm not going to give you a new deal. The Cowboys aren't saying show up under your current contract or else. They're willing to negotiate. They're willing to look to find him a new contract when they don't have to. They have him not just under 2 more years of control, but then franchise tags after that. Is he going to get more short-term money by holding out now? The answer is yes. If it's $13 million a year, that's 5 more than he would have gotten under his existing contract. That's a W for Zeke. But is he going to get something else? Is he going to get speed? Is he going to get 2 paydays? Because I listened to Jason Fitz this morning filling in on Golick and Wingo, and he made another argument, another interesting point that Zeke was getting something else accomplished.
When you think about what Zeke's doing, he's not just fighting for this contract. He's young. He's fighting for this contract and the opportunity to get back to the table for another mega deal in his career. It is rare that you see running backs get the opportunity to get paid twice. Zeke speeds the entire cycle up. If he gets himself paid now, he has the opportunity to get a couple of mega deals.
I think Fitz is right. This speeds up his clock. He gets a new deal 3 years into the league. He'll be 27. If it's a 3-year deal, he'll be 28 if it's a 4-year deal, and he'll be back. And though he won't get the cash in to the level he's doing right now, it won't be full-on peak market value at that age for running backs. He will get a chance to get paid again handsomely at that age. He speeds up his timeline and the number of contracts that he can sign, and that's a W for Ezekiel Elliott. So the long and short of it is, as long as he gets those 2 things accomplished, speeds up his window, gets more short-term money, even if he comes in less than Todd Gurley, and even if he comes in the range of Le'Veon Bell, Zeke can get W's out of this contract holdout. The Will Cain Show is reminded you can listen to all 3 hours of the show on SiriusXM and Friction. What's up, Jeff?
Man, I got all my friends texting me asking if they should draft Ezekiel Elliott in their fantasy draft, and it makes me nervous. And, I want to tell them yes. I want to say yes, Will,
But you are telling them yes. I'm listening to Sound of You from Get Up and replayed on Golic and Wingo, and I hear a definitive man saying a deal will get done by week 1.
I really think it will. So, I mean, here's the deal, Will. Like, as we know with negotiations, this is where I'm going to hedge a little bit. Like, we just, I mean, if this becomes a matter of principle and loyalty and all that stuff, and people get jaded and insulted, I don't know where this goes. But the plan has seemed to be, since we talked 3 months ago, that Zeke was going to hold out, and if he could get himself a nice new contract, that he was going to take it by week 1. And this deal, while not likely at this point to eclipse Todd Gurley, is still a win for Zeke if he takes it before week 1. And that is the impression that I've been put under. Because, I mean, if you think about it, Will, like, nobody thought he was going to hold out, thus nobody thought he was going to get a new contract, and he was going to play this year under his rookie deal. But he's going to get more money this year that's going to make up for if he holds out and tries to do this same deal next year. You with me?
I am. In fact, I laid out some wins and losses a little bit earlier here, Jeff, and I said, look, he's not going to become the highest paid running back in the NFL. If that's how he defines wins and losses, he's going to take an L. But he's going to, A, get more short-term money than he would have got under his existing contract. That's a W for him. And B, speed up the process of renegotiating new deals. He could be back at the bargaining table at age 27 or 28.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, so that's a W as well.
That's dead on. And that's the thing, Will. Like, that's the thing with all these running backs. Part of the problem is they're not getting to free agency fast enough. Like, if I'm the running backs, and not that they have that great of a voice when it comes to the collective bargaining table, but I'm saying running backs should be on 3-year rookie deals or something equivalent, something to help them get to free agency faster. And Zeke might have nailed it with this. Zeke might have figured out how to get himself to his, not just his second contract, but his third contract before that dreadful 30th birthday.
Now, here's something fascinating, though. Let's just play that out. Talking to Jeff Darlington here on the Will Cain Show. Let's say the NFL changed their draft slot status and running backs didn't have to sign 5 years for a 5-year deal if they're drafted in the first round. It's now a 3-year deal for running backs. Yeah. Or let's say that doesn't happen and it just becomes de facto that way, and every running back does what Zeke has done here. And Saquon will do this in a year or two to try to speed up his deals. Sooner or later, I wonder this, Jeff, if that depresses the draft value of running backs. So the Giants wouldn't take Saquon number 2 overall, and the Cowboys wouldn't take Zeke number 4 because you're only going to have them for 3 years before you have to pay them. It's going to have an effect on the back end, and it's going to be that teams won't draft running backs as highly.
Well, teams already are drafting running backs later outside of those generational guys like Saquon and Zeke. They're already doing that. They already think they can find these workhorse backs later. But to your point, you know, part of the reason the players kind of, I want to say, messed up a little bit with the last CBA is because they thought that slotting these rookie contracts and not guaranteeing big dollars would allow them to get more money in the veterans' hands, when instead, to your point, GMs are saying, no, we just want to find rookies and pay them a little bit of money for 5 years. So you're right. If suddenly running backs do this, it does shift. I mean, are you going to see more GMs take them later? That's a really good thought too. I mean, I think this is a really tricky, really interesting time for running backs across the board. And what we're seeing from Le'Veon Bell, from Ezekiel Elliott, from Melvin Gordon, we are seeing exactly what you're talking about. We are seeing basically a transition period for the running back value.
ESPN NFL reporter Jeff Darlington here on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. All right.